In this video, I'll be showing you the basic principles of using Outlook and OneDrive, including how to create an email account on Outlook, using Outlook to send and reply to emails, how to use OneDrive, and how to create Word documents in OneDrive. So we're going to start by creating an email account. Here I've loaded up Google Chrome as my web browser, and I'm going to use the search bar to search for Outlook. It will usually be the top listing on the search results, but you'll want to look for outlook.live.com. Once you've created your email account, you'll use the sign in button at the top to access your emails, but we're creating an account now, so we'll click on Create Free Account. So the first thing you have to do is to create an email address. On Outlook, you have two options. You can either use @outlook.com or @hotmail.com. It's entirely up to you which you prefer. When creating your email, you need to keep it professional. So it's recommended that you use something like your first name dot surname followed by some numbers if needed. But your email must always start with a letter. So for the purposes of this, we're just going to do demo.sam88@outlook.com. The next step you'll need to do is creating a password. Make sure you don't use a password that can be easily guessed, such as using the word password or using 123456, as these passwords can be easily hacked. You'll need to use a mixture of upper and lowercase letters, numbers and symbols, which can make the password quite difficult to remember, so if you do need to write it down, make sure you keep your password somewhere secure. Then you can just hit the next button. You then need to enter your name, hit next, and then put in a date of birth. And hit next again. To finalise creating an account, you'll need to solve a puzzle. This is just to verify that you're an actual human being. So hit next, and for the purpose of this puzzle, we just need to click the arrows to rotate the image to make sure it's the correct way up. And you can then hit done. And just like that, your Outlook account is created, and you'll be taken to your Outlook dashboard. So now we're in Outlook, I'll give you a brief run through of some of the most important features you'll need to see. So the first thing to look at here, this is a new email. So this is basically a welcome email from Outlook that you'll get, which explains a bit more about your Outlook account. But any new emails you get will sit in this section of Outlook. To the left here, you've got your toolbar menu. So you can see Inbox is where your emails will sit. Below this, you'll have Sent Items, so whenever you send an email, you'll be able to find it in here. You then have Drafts, so drafts are basically if you are writing an email and then halfway through you close your browser or you need to add something else to it later, it will save into your drafts. And after a certain amount of time of writing an email, it will automatically go into your drafts so you can retrieve it later on. You then have the folder icon. So again, that just stores your inbox in there, your drafts, your sent items. It also has something called junk email. So junk email, there's a filter on Outlook which basically tries to stop any suspicious email content. So anyone who's trying to hack your account, and those emails will go into your junk email. So occasionally someone might send you an email and they might say, has it gone into your junk email? Because sometimes emails with a lot of attachments or a lot of content can sometimes end up in there. And then you've also got deleted items, so any items that you delete from your inbox or from your sent items will go into there. So along the top right here, there's just a couple of things. So this little circle here with your initials in is just showing you your email address. You can add a picture of yourself and you can access your profile and account up here, and it's also where you will sign out when you need to. This little icon here is just any kind of notifications of what's new, so it'll give you a few things to set up when you initially join. setting up desktop reminders might be helpful if you want to have, every time you get a new email, you'll get a little notification pop up on your desktop. And then there is a settings tab here. So again, this can show you different themes for your Outlook if you want to switch on dark mode, just basic things like that, really, that make Outlook look more comfortable for you. You also have in the bottom left your calendar. So your calendar will show you all the upcoming dates. If you want to add a new appointment, you just press the new event button at the top, give it a title, a date, a time, and you can also put a location in. And you can set reminders as well. So if you want to be reminded a few hours before that appointment is happening, you can set a reminder there. And then you can re-access your mail by just clicking on the little envelope icon. But finally, the other most important thing to look at is this little icon in the very top left. So this is known as the waffle icon. And what this does is it gives you access to all your other Microsoft 365 services. So you've got Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and OneDrive. So we'll be covering OneDrive and Word a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to stick with Outlook. So the next thing I wanted to show you is how to create an email. So to create one, you hit the new message button, top left again, and it will come up with this little blank template. So the to button is who you want to send the email to. So you'll need to write in someone else's email address there. A subject line is the first piece of text that will show when that person receives an email from you. So if we look at this welcome email we've had from Outlook, the Outlook team is their name. So when you put your name in, that's what will appear here. And the subject line is this little piece of text below. So welcome to your new Outlook, that would say. And then this bit here is the body of the text, which is what you'll write here. So you've got who you want to send to, a brief kind of summary of what the email is about, and then the body text, so the full email of what you need to say. So I'll just explain a few more things. So at the top here, we've got send. So once you finish writing your email, that's one way to send the email. You've got attach. So attach is to insert files that are saved on your computer. Insert is to attach files that are saved on your OneDrive, so these are based on cloud locations. Discard is if you want to delete the email, so if you're midway through writing it and you think, actually, I don't need to send this anymore, then just delete it there. This little icon here just basically opens up the whole email in a brand new tab. But again, that's completely up to you as to how you like to use your settings. And then in here, I'll just show you the rest of the features. So along the bottom, you've got a range of different things. So some of the most important ones, so let's just write hello in here so I can show these to you. So you've got the font. So if you want to change what font you use, there's a whole range of different ones, but we'd probably recommend sticking to something like Arial or Calibri, as that's the easiest to read. You've also got sizes, so if you want to make your text a little bit bigger or make something stand out, you can do that too. You can put something in bold, so that just makes it a bit thicker than usual. You can make something italic, but again, we'd recommend just sticking to non-italic text. You can underline something, so if you really want to highlight it, you can do that. Highlighting a piece of text, so choose a color to highlight the text with if you want, again, something to stand out. That's a great way to do it. And then you've got font color, so you can change the font color, but again, we'd recommend just sticking with the black font. And then another useful tool in here is bullet points. So if you want to make a list of things, just use a bullet point and put item 1, item 2. And you can just add a new one by hitting the enter key on your keyboard. And if you want to switch them off, just hit the bullet button again. And similar to that, you also have numbers as well. And then below here, you have some of the similar options that you have up top. So you have send, you can choose either to send straight away or to schedule an email to send later. You have a discard button again, attaching files from your desktop, attaching files from OneDrive. You can insert some images. You can insert some smiley faces as well. But again, it all depends on who you're actually sending this email to. And just one final thing to point out when writing an email, so you can see down here, draft saved at 10:12. So I've been writing this email for such a long time, it's decided to save it as a draft for me. So if I go into my drafts, you can see I've got a little 1 here, and I can retrieve that email. Nice and simple. So now we're back in the inbox, and you can see that we've received an email. So next to the inbox, you've got the little 1 symbol showing that we've got 1 new email. So again, as we mentioned earlier, you've got the from name, the subject line, and a bit of body text. So if we click on here, it'll open it up. And again, from name, who it's to, you've got the date and time here and the body text. So some things when you open a received email. So you've got another toolbar up here. The 3 useful features on here are to delete. So if you don't want the email sat in your inbox, you can delete it. Junk, so if you believe the email is junk, then you can just mark it as so, and then Outlook will learn, are similar emails like this supposed to go in the junk email too? And then move to, so under your folders here, you can actually create additional folders. So say if you want to store any emails relating to jobs or to, your house management. If you press move to, you can either search for a folder or you can create a new folder. Then onto the actual email itself. So you might want to reply directly to the sender. So then you can just hit reply. And underneath, so you'll still be able to see their email. So then you can write content that's relevant to it. So then you can write your response in here. Again, you've got all the same formatting options, bold, italic. You can change the font size, attach files, emojis. And if you don't want to, you get halfway through writing the email, you don't want to send it anymore, hit the discard button. And then again, you've got the send options, so send now or send later. The other option you had here was to forward. So basically that means that you don't want to directly reply to this sender, you want to send it on to someone else. So if you hit forward, then the to box will be empty. It won't filter it with the person's name and email address. You also see this little FW that will appear in the subject line, and that just lets the sender know that you are forwarding a different email to them. If you were to reply, it would come up with RE as in reply. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is OneDrive. So to access your OneDrive, you use the waffle icon in the very top left. Click it and then select OneDrive. So this is what OneDrive will look like, and it will give you some helpful tips to kind of get started, but we're just going to skip those for now. And it will also try and make you upgrade to premium, but you can just press the little X in the top corner. So again, you've got a toolbar on the left. So My Files is accessing your documents. You then have Recent. So when you start opening files and using them, if you want to go back and say you think, oh, I've only just accessed that, but I don't know where it is, then you can just go into your recent files. Photos, so any photos that you may want to upload, you can place in here. And then there's your bin, so any files that you delete will go into your recycling bin. So we'll go back to My Files. So along the top here, you've then got New, so you can create a new folder. So let's say CV. Hit create, and then that will create you a new folder which you can go in and out of. To get out of here, just click on here. So in this folder, you can then upload files or folders. So these are ones that will come straight from your desktop and you'll upload them into OneDrive in the cloud. You can move files. So if you want to select a file and move it to a different folder, you can use the move to. You can select files to rename them. And you can also sort them here. So you can sort them by their name, the date they were modified, things like that. So here you've already got a file, and this is a getting started with OneDrive. So that's quite a helpful thing to have a read through as well. There's like a little circle when you hover your mouse over. So if you just click on that, you'll get another set of options up top. So you can open the file, you can share it. So sharing, again, you can just put someone's email address in there, and then you can add a message body and just send it. You can download it onto your desktop, delete the file, again, moving it to a different location, so you can choose a different file, or you can select a new folder. You can rename the file, so you can give it a new name that might be easier for you to understand. And then version history is essentially when you edit a file, you'll get a version history. So if you made some changes and then you've thought, oh, actually, you know what, I want to go back to a previous version I used, you can use version history to find out when it was last modified and restore that file. So next we want to create a new file. So you can either go new and then Word document, or you can go to the little waffle and select Word. So we're just going to give you an overview of Word Online. So with Word Online, you'll be presented this screen and you'll see the options to either start with a blank document, or there's a bunch of templates you can use, but generally we'd suggest starting with a blank document. Before we do this, just look below, you'll see recent. So recent is basically any documents that you've worked on recently. Well, they'll just appear down here so you can quickly open and close those. So if we click on new blank document, and Word will open up. So this here is your document itself. So if we just type some words, hello Sam, how are you? And then at the bottom here, you'll just see a word count, you'll see how many pages we have, what language we're set to. And you can also switch text predictions on and off. So as you're writing, it might try and finish a sentence for you. So you can turn that on or off if you like. Some other things to just quickly show you. So right at the top here, this is the name of your document. So if you click here, you can rename it. So we can just say test document. And the location, so it's going to save in your OneDrive. So if we come out of here, you'll see a toolbar at the top with a load of different options. So some of these might be familiar to you from your emails. So you've got the fonts listed here. Again, try to stick to something that's easy to read. You've got font sizes. This here you can just use to go up and down as well for the font sizes. You've got bold, italic and underline again, highlighting text, changing the colour of text. And those are kind of the core options you'll really want. And then again, you've got the bullet points and the number bullet points as well. Then just above this, you've got another toolbar. So the file is where you can save your documents, you can print your documents, or you can just open a completely new one here, or open a recent document. Your home is what you see before you, so where you do all your text editing. Insert, so if you go into insert, you can place a picture, so you can take one from your OneDrive or from your computer. And there's a bunch of other options here, but we won't go into too much detail with those. Review is another helpful tool, so you can find out your word count. So if you are on a word limit, you can use that. So those are kind of the essentials that you need to know when you're using a Word document. Obviously, there's a lot more to explore, and do feel free to do so. But those are kind of the basic overviews that you'll need. So if we go back into the waffle and go into OneDrive, you can now see the test document down here. And the just now means that we were literally just using that document. As we showed earlier, you can use this little button when you hover over the document. You can rename, you can move your folder, you can delete it, share it, or reopen it again. So hopefully that's kind of given you a whistle-stop tour of Outlook and OneDrive and how to use them both. There's a lot more that you can do with it, but these are just the basic necessities that you'll need.